Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is now official. The Azimio team led by President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga will officially file their petition challenging the declaration by Wafula Chebukati of William Samoei Arap Ruto as the president-elect of the Republic of Kenya. And the Azimio team will be making three prayers. The first prayer they will be making is for vote recount or retally. And they believe that Raila Odinga won the elections, and should the vote retally confirms that, they will demand that Raila Odinga be declared the president-elect of the Republic of Kenya. I'm going to get into details about that vote recount. The second prayer they are going to make is the nullification of the whole process. That throughout the process, there were certain issues. Remember, elections in Kenya is both qualitative and quantitative, where qualitative means the process and quantitative means now the numbers. So they are also going to look into that. And the third prayer is going to be a rerun. So in this video, I want us to look into this presidential petition. Before we get into that, let me just go through some tweets which are very interesting. A gentleman by the name Abdullahi, senior counsel, is already crying. I know he's going to be one of the key lawyers for William Samoei Arap Ruto. This is what he's posting on Twitter: that outgoing President Uhuru and Honorable Raila don't want the Supreme Court to nullify the presidential elections on the 9th of August 2022. They don't want a rerun. They want the Supreme Court to declare that Honorable Raila won the elections on the 9th of August 2022 elections using fuzzy maths. No, impossible, no. Now, even Abdul Nasir Abdullahi is very clear that the Azimio team will not be demanding for a rerun. They will be demanding for a declaration that Raila Odinga actually won this election. So that is the first prayer which they'll be demanding. Now let me take you, because I don't know why I'm confusing the name, because Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi is not your ordinary Kenyan. This is a guy who has intelligence. If you've been following him on Twitter, he was President Uhuru Kenyatta's lawyer. Again, he's going to be William Ruto's lawyer is a senior counsel. So I'm taking whatever he said here as politically significant. Then Mutai Ngunyi also made some interesting tweet. Mutai Ngunyi is saying that I said that election will not happen on the 9th. It will start on the 9th. In 21 days, the Supreme Court will rule if Chebukati did the right thing. If he was wrong, we have to do a re-election in November. And this is why Uhuru wanted BBI changes. Now again, Mutai Ngunyi, who is very close to President Uhuru Kenyatta, one of the advisors, is suggesting that Chebukati didn't do a good job, and therefore we are likely to have another election in November. Another interesting lawyer, one of my favorite lawyers, Donald Kipkorir is also saying something here, which is also very important. He's saying, let me just get it here. He's saying, our Supreme Court has inherent jurisdiction to correct arithmetic errors without substantive hearing. If Azimio seeks the prayer of correction of arithmetic errors and demonstrate beyond peradventure that Baba won, then Baba can be declared president without fresh elections. And is continuing, fresh elections are only called if irregularities are proven. Correction of arithmetic errors isn't an irregularity, but what is called a slip. This presidential election will turn on mathematics, reconciliation of Kemskit and votes declared. Now, that is Donald Kitkorir, one of the top lawyers in this country. So basically, it means we are talking of a possibility of vote recount. And why do you think Raila Odinga and the team will be going for vote recount? The first reason why they are going for vote recount is that they want to prove that there are discrepancies in Form 34As. Someone just brought to my attention a form here. Let me just check. One of the subscribers here, who is based in Baghdad, just brought my attention to a form. Let me just see if I can get it. Surely on WhatsApp. Okay. So it's just brought my attention to these forms that someone is still uploading the forms. At some point, Form 34A, at some point, they are 100%. Like right now, they are 99.94%. This is the date was at 16/2023. This was at 16th of August at 18:23. So basically, at 18:23, which was 6 p.m., all the forms by 16th of August had already been completed. Then later, at 2023, a form or two were removed, and the figures now came to 99.94%, which means someone somewhere is playing with the forms. So these are the things why ODM, Jubilee, and Azimio are demanding for a recount, because they strongly believe. I was talking to one of the guys who is my friend, who was in charge of the tallying center for Azimio. He was very clear that there were so many Form 34As which had discrepancies. If you go to the portal right now, there are forms, I just forgot to include them. There are forms which are still reading 0. So the forms are signed, but still reading 0 from 34As. So those discrepancies is what Azimio wants to expose. The second reason why they are going for vote recount is that they want to prove that indeed there were inflation of figures. there were inflation of figures in Mount Kenya, in Bungoma, and some parts of Rift Valley. In fact, according to Wafula Chebukati, the turnout was around 65.4%. But some regions in Mount Kenya, the turnout went up to 94%.
A very, very minimum request to make. And therefore, for example, in Juja, and let's be candid. In Juja, the total number of votes obtained by all the parliamentary candidates is 85,000. The president has 100,000. Now it means 15,000 people voted for the president and walked away. They didn't vote for the parliamentary candidate. I mean, how is that possible? So we are saying, as the Orange Democratic Movement, that we want the commission to make an announcement on the basis of results that are authentic and that have a basis and that have supporting documents. The commission have told us that they have sent a plane to look for these results. We have been told that it will be ready by about 3 o'clock. We want to verify those things before any announcement is made, because we have figures everywhere, and every other place have figures.
94% in Mount Kenya. So these are some of the things which they want to expose. The third thing they want to expose through vote recount, is the actual voter turnout. If you look at the figures, this I have to refer. If you look at the figures, Wafula Chebukati made an announcement. And in his announcement, the turnout was actually 65.4%. 65.4% of 22,120,458 means that the people who voted were actually 14,466,779. But according to Wafula Chebukati results which he announced, only 14,213 people voted. 14,002. But according to Wafula Chebukati's results, only 14,213,137 people voted, plus 614,000 spoiled votes, which makes a total of 14,326,750. The difference is 140,000. So there's a total of 140,000 votes which cannot be accounted for. Now that alone is enough to nullify this election. Why? Because the deputy president reached the 50+1% votes, according to Chebukati, just by some 69,000 votes. If that 69,000 voters did not vote or did not count, William Ruto would not have been declared the president-elect. Automatically, a rerun would have been occasioned. And that's why we have to wait for what the other commissioners have in their sleeves. Because if you take, for example, the 0.01%, if you take the number of votes Ruto got, Raila got, Wajakoya got, and Waure got, 1% of them, 1.01% of them, you come to close to 142,000. So which means someone somewhere decided to ensure that William Ruto had to be declared the president. And of course, the other commissioners talked of that tallying as opaque. So there's a meaning to that opaqueness, because elections are actually supposed to be transparent. So let us wait and see what will happen. William Ruto avoided runoff just by 69,000 votes. So if out of the turnout, some 140,000 votes are missing, then there's a problem. I want you to listen to Wafula Chebukati himself, not me, explaining that the people who voted were 65.4%. Listening.
The voter turnout is based on the verification of the KIMS kits which were functional during the process of voting. Remember, we have areas that Commission allowed use of the manual register, and then we shall not be able to give you the exact voter turnout until the data is transmitted in the result forms, and then we compute the final voter turnout. But from the kits that transmitted, the voter turnout is 65.4%. This figure will go higher once we compute the verification of the turnout in areas that did manual voting. So that figure then will obviously go up.
Of course, Wafula Chebukati later changed that figure, but even with the change of the figures, he was very clear that there were so many other people who voted through Kemskit. So even his latest figure, which he made the correction to, still don't add up. So that's the first prayer they are going to make. The second prayer they want to make is the nullification of the whole election. In this, they are going to look at the process, because elections, just like I explained, is both qualitative and quantitative. So they'll go through the process. Remember, Wafula Chebukati was so wise and he tried so hard to ensure that he covered his back, so that if it was about Form 34A, Form what, all of those were posted. And that's why he kept on referring to people to the portal. And remember, whatever is posted on the portal, Wafula Chebukati cannot change. The only people who can change whatever is on the portal is the Supreme Court. And that's why Raila Odinga and the team are going to Supreme Court. Because if, for example, there was a problem with Form 34A, it was posted as blank, the truth is that form, that blank form, 34A, can only be changed by Wafula Chebukati. If you go to, I don't know whether it's still there, let me just check it. There was this figure for Starehe. I don't know whether the forms are still there. Let me just check. The figure for Starehe, Form 34B. Starehe, Nairobi, should be Nairobi. Yes, that's Nairobi. Starehe, yes. The figure for Starehe, form which was posted there, was actually form for Garissa. Yes, it's still there. Garissa. If you go to IBC, Form 34B for Garissa, which was posted, it is Garissa for Starehe. Which means it can't be changed. The only people who can change that form is the Supreme Court. So these are some of the issues the Azimio team will be taking before Maraga. Their last prayer is going to be for a rerun, because you can call for a fresh election or a rerun where you repeat. So they are going to follow that script, and their strategy is simple. The first strategy for Azimio team is that they want to cast doubt on the voter, on the figures. Wafula Chebukati is saying that the people who voted were actually 14,326,751. Now, Azimio team wants to cast doubt on that figure. And how are they going to cast doubt on that figure? By calling for a recount, so that the recount will be able to tell whether the 14,326,751 are the actual number of people who voted. That can only be confirmed through returning. The other thing they are going to use is basically to check the actual voter turnout, because Wafula Chebukati talked of 65.4%. In this country, we know the counties where Kemskit had issues, the turnout which Wafula Chebukati were based on the Kemskit. So if there were other people who voted outside the Kemskit, then what was their percentage? That is exactly what these guys will want to do. So they'll go to a polling station, get the ballot boxes, open them up, count, then they'll be able to know in polling station A, these were the number of people who voted from Kemskit, these were the number. From outside Kemskit, these were the number. Then those numbers outside Kemskit will be tallied just to confirm the actual voter turnout, because the percentage of 50 plus 1% is normally derived from total votes cast, or the valid votes. Also, they want to cast the doubt on the figures based on the high number of votes or percentage William Ruto got from Mount Kenya. all Kenyans believe that Mount Kenya did not turn up in large numbers to vote. But for William Ruto and the team, the turnout in Mount Kenya was 70-something. So that's the first approach. Cast doubt on the figures. The second approach is vote tallying. They want to tally those votes. For example, in Kisumu Central, where Raila Odinga's figures deflated. In Central Kenya, there was that accusation that majority of Wajakoya's votes were being deducted and added to Ruto. The only thing which can separate that is vote tallying. So they will have to tally. Is the result which was posted by IBC on Form 34C, similar to the results announced by IBC on Form 34A on the portal, and do they tally with the original forms which as new agents submitted? So they'll be doing the vote tally, and then the verification. Verification is now that process. You have Form 34A. As new agent has theirs. Kenya Kwanza has theirs. The other team also has theirs. Do they tally? If they don't tally, who has a fake form? Because remember, in the last petition, there were issues of fake forms. There were security features in these forms. Which form is fake and which form is the right one? And lastly, they want also to approach the result declaration. Is Wafula Chebukati in order to declare the president-elect minus the other commissioners, or must all commissioners reach an agreement before the returning officer, who is Wafula Chebukati, declares those results? So those are some of the issues which are going to form the petition. So it's our hope and prayer that the Azimio team will file the case, they'll defend it, and that at the end of the day, the Supreme Court will make their judgment based on what they believe is good, right, and will serve justice. If Ruto won, they should affirm the win. If Raila won, people should go for another election, or probably for the worst, Raila Odinga should then be declared the president-elect of the Republic of Kenya. I don't know what to think. That's my take. Thank you guys for your time, and please may you have a good day. Bye-bye.